The endless black of space lit up as a massive ship emerged from jump speed. Its sleek, almost organic lines glowed with blue energy that slowly faded as it approached Earth's orbit. The vessel was 3 times larger than humanity's biggest ship, and moved with graceful precision that spoke of technology, centuries beyond what humans had achieved. Captain Amanda Porter stood on the bridge of the EDF Defiant, watching the alien craft through the main view screen. Her uniform was crisp, her posture perfect, but her fingers tapped nervously on the armrest of her command chair. "They're hailing us, Captain," said Communications Officer Diane Carter, her eyes fixed on her console. Amanda took a deep breath. On screen, the view screen changed to show a tall, slender alien with pale blue skin and large reflective eyes. It wore what appeared to be a formal uniform covered in strange symbols. "Greetings, humans. I am Ambassador Zix Corthan of the Galactic Confederation. We received your distress signal and have come to investigate." Amanda stepped forward. "Ambassador, I am Captain Amanda Porter of the Earth Defense Force. Thank you for responding to our message. We detected unusual energy readings at the edge of our system and wanted to make contact with whoever might be out there." The alien's expression changed subtly. "Your species has only recently achieved faster than light travel, correct?" "Yes. Our first FTL flight was just 15 years ago." Ambassador Zix Corthan nodded slowly. "We would like to meet with your leaders and discuss your entry into the galactic community. Our scans show your technology is primitive by our standards, but all developing species are welcome in the Confederation." 2 hours later, Amanda stood in the main conference room of Earth's orbital station alongside Admiral Samantha Wright, Chief Engineer Kevin Wilson, and several high-ranking Earth officials. The alien delegation had arrived and was being shown to the conference room. Kevin leaned close to Amanda. "I don't like their tone. Did you hear how they said primitive?" Amanda nodded. "Stay professional. This is still first contact with an advanced alien coalition. We need this to go well." The door slid open and 5 aliens entered the room. Ambassador Zix Corthan led the group, followed by what appeared to be military and scientific advisors. Their eyes scanned the room, taking in every detail. "Admiral," Wright stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth's Orbital Command Station. We're honored to host representatives of the Galactic Confederation." The ambassador gave a slight bow. "The honor is ours. It is always exciting to welcome a new species into the greater community of the stars." The meeting started well, with both sides sharing basic information about their cultures and governments. But when the conversation turned to technology, the aliens' attitudes shifted noticeably. "Your power generation systems rely on fusion?" one of the alien scientists asked, not hiding his surprise. "Most species move beyond that within their first century of space travel." Kevin Wilson frowned. "Our fusion reactors are highly efficient. And, yes, the alien interrupted, for fusion technology. But compared to quantum fold energy, it's like comparing a campfire to a star." Ambassador Zix Corthan examined a holographic display of Earth's defense fleet. "Your vessels are quite substantial, very heavily armored." "We believe in being prepared," Admiral Wright said firmly. The ambassador's mouth formed what might have been a smile. "Prepared with such outdated technology? Your ships would barely register as threats to modern vessels. The armor makes them slow and unwieldy. The Confederation moved beyond such designs 10,000 years ago." The tension in the room grew as the aliens continued to point out the flaws in human technology. What had started as a diplomatic meeting was quickly becoming uncomfortable. "Perhaps a tour of our shipyards would help you understand our approach," Amanda suggested, trying to salvage the situation. The alien delegation agreed, though their body language suggested they were merely humoring the humans. As they boarded a shuttle to the massive orbital construction facilities, Amanda exchanged worried glances with Kevin. "They think we're children," she whispered. Kevin nodded. "Let them think that for now." The Earth shipyards were enormous structures where dozens of warships were under construction. Robots and spacesuited workers moved around the skeletal frames of future vessels, while completed ships floated in holding patterns nearby. As they toured the facility, the aliens made little effort to hide their amusement. These would make Fine museum pieces, one of the military advisors said, examining the thick hull plating being installed on a cruiser. Most civilized races use energy shields rather than physical armor. Kevin tried to explain. We've found that layered composite materials can offer advantages against certain types of, against weapons from 5 centuries ago perhaps, the alien interrupted again. Several of the delegation laughed, the sound strange and musical despite the mockery behind it. Ambassador Zix Corthan pointed at the main weapon systems being installed. And these are kinetic weapons? Projectiles? Not energy-based? Admiral Wright nodded stiffly. We've developed extremely effective railgun technology. This prompted more laughter from the aliens. How quaint. The Vexari Empire abandoned such weapons before your species had discovered fire. The tour continued in this vein, with the aliens treating Earth's proudest achievements as primitive curiosities. By the time they returned to the conference room, most of the human delegation was seething with quiet anger. As they settled back into their seats, an urgent message came through to Amanda's personal device. She read it quickly, her face growing pale. "Admiral," she said quietly, "we have a situation." At that moment, alarms began to sound throughout the station. Red emergency lights flashed, and the station's AI announced, "Warning, unknown vessels approaching at high speed. Multiple signatures detected. Warning, unknown vessels approaching at high speed." The alien delegation looked confused, then concerned. Ambassador Zix Corthan pulled out a small device and checked it. "This is impossible," he muttered. "Drak-Thul, warships, here? Who are the Drak-Thul?" Amanda demanded. The ambassador's large eyes widened. "A hostile empire from the outer reaches. They are not part of the Confederation, and are known for their aggression and expansion through conquest." Admiral Wright activated the main display, showing 15 ships approaching from the direction opposite the Confederation vessel. "They must have followed us," one of the alien advisors said, voice rising in panic. "But how? Our stealth systems should have prevented detection." A message flashed across the screen, an incoming transmission from the approaching fleet. Amanda nodded. To Diane, who put it on the main display. A reptilian alien appeared, its scales dark green and eyes glowing red. "Attention Confederation vessel and newly discovered world. This is Commander Vrax of the Drak-Thul Empire. The planet you have found belongs to us now. Surrender immediately, or face destruction." The message ended, leaving the conference room in stunned silence for several seconds. Then Ambassador Zix Corthan turned to Admiral Wright, his former arrogance replaced by genuine concern. "I regret that our diplomatic mission has brought this threat to your doorstep. However, we must leave immediately to summon Confederation forces. Our single vessel cannot stand against a Drak-Thul battle fleet." "How long would that take?" Amanda asked. "To return with sufficient forces? Perhaps 3 of your weeks." Admiral Wright and Amanda exchanged looks. Then the Admiral smiled slightly. "That won't be necessary, Ambassador. Earth can defend itself." The aliens stared in disbelief, and one actually laughed out loud. "With your ancient fleet?" Ambassador Zix Corthan asked incredulously. "You would be destroyed in minutes." Admiral Wright's smile grew wider. "We'll see about that." The conference room fell silent after Admiral Wright's bold declaration. Ambassador Zix Corthan stared at the human admiral with what could only be described as pity. "Admiral," the ambassador said slowly, as if speaking to a child, "you don't understand. The Drak-Thul fleet consists of 15 advanced warships. Each one could destroy your entire fleet alone." Lieutenant Commander Alan Mitchell, who had been quietly observing from the corner of the room, stepped forward. "With all due respect, Ambassador, you haven't seen what our ships can do." The alien military advisor made a sound that resembled a snort. "We've scanned your vessels thoroughly. Your power systems are basic fusion reactors. Your weapons are primarily kinetic. Your defenses rely on physical armor rather than energy shields. Against modern energy weapons, they will offer no protection." Admiral Wright remained calm. "And yet we're going to fight." She turned to Amanda. Captain Porter, return to the Defiant and prepare to deploy with Battle Group 1. Amanda nodded sharply. Yes, Admiral. As she turned to leave, the ambassador raised a hand. Please, be reasonable. We can evacuate your leadership and preserve some of your population. The Drakthul will destroy your world, but we can save... That won't be necessary, Admiral Wright interrupted. She activated the main display, showing Earth's orbital defense network. 30 warships were already moving into position, forming a protective screen between Earth and the approaching enemy. Amanda left quickly, followed by Kevin Wilson. As they hurried toward the shuttle bay, Kevin spoke in a low voice. They really believe we're helpless. Amanda smiled tightly. Let them think that. The Drakthul will be making the same mistake. Back on the Defiant, Amanda took her place in the command chair. Her crew worked efficiently around her, preparing the ship for battle. Status report, she ordered. All systems green, Captain, reported her XO, Lieutenant Commander Mitchell. Reactor at 80% capacity. Weapon systems online. Armor integrity at 100%. Communications patch me through to the fleet. Diane Carter nodded. Channel open, Captain. Amanda took a deep breath. This is Captain Porter. Battle Group 1 will take the forward position. Groups 2 and 3 form up on our flanks. Remember your training. These aliens may have advanced technology, but they've never faced humans before. Today we show them what Earth can do. Aboard the orbital station, Ambassador Zix Corthan and his delegation watched with growing concern as the human fleet arranged itself to meet the Drakthul head-on. This is suicide, the ambassador said to Admiral Wright. Your ships aren't even in a proper defense formation. The standard approach is to create overlapping energy screens. Admiral Wright smiled faintly. We have our own methods. The main display showed the approaching Drakthul vessels. They were dark, angular ships bristling with weapon ports. They moved in a tight formation that spoke of military precision and confidence. Incoming transmission from the Drakthul flagship, reported the station's communications officer. The reptilian commander appeared on screen again. Primitive world, your time has expired. Surrender now or be destroyed. Admiral Wright stepped forward. This is Admiral Samantha Wright of the Earth Defense Force. You are trespassing in Earth space. Leave immediately or we will defend ourselves. The Drakthul commander's red eyes narrowed. You dare to threaten the might of the Drakthul Empire? Your pathetic fleet is no match for our technology. The transmission cut off abruptly. They're powering weapons, reported the station's tactical officer. On the Defiant, Amanda received the same report. All ships, prepare for incoming fire. Activate countermeasures. Diane, monitoring the enemy communications, looked up. Captain, I'm intercepting their tactical chatter. They're laughing at us. They're calling this a simple harvest and a brief diversion. Amanda's jaw tightened. Let them laugh. The Drakthul ships fired first. Beams of bright green energy lanced across space toward the human fleet. Ambassador Zix Corthan and his delegation watched in horror, certain they were about to witness the destruction of Earth's defense force. But something unexpected happened. As the energy beams struck the human ships, they seemed to lose cohesion. The energy dispersed across the hulls in web-like patterns before fading away. The heavy armor of the Earth vessels showed only minor scorch marks. Impossible, whispered one of the alien scientists. In the command center, Admiral Wright turned to the stunned aliens. Our armor is a special composite that absorbs and disperses energy attacks. We call it dispersion armor. The ambassador stared at the display, speechless for the first time since arriving. On the Defiant, Amanda leaned forward in her chair. All ships, execute maneuver Delta 6. The human fleet suddenly split into smaller groups, each taking a different approach vector toward the Drakthul formation. The enemy ships fired again, more intensely this time, but with similar results. The human vessels weathered the storm of energy weapons with minimal damage. They're adjusting their weapon frequencies, reported the tactical officer, trying to find a weakness in our armor. Let them try, Amanda replied calmly. Weapons, prepare main railguns, target their lead vessels. In the orbital command center, the alien delegation watched in growing amazement as the human fleet executed complex maneuvers, splitting their formation further while maintaining coordinated movements. "What are they doing?" asked the ambassador. "They're making themselves more vulnerable by spreading out." Admiral Wright shook her head. "Not more vulnerable, more dangerous." On the main screen, they watched as Battle Group 1, led by the Defiant, accelerated directly toward the center of the Drakthul formation. "They're going to be surrounded," gasped one of the alien advisors. "That's the idea," replied Admiral Wright. The Drakthul commander, visible on another screen, seemed pleased by this development. He ordered his ships to close ranks and intensify their fire, certain that at closer range their superior weapons would break through the strange human defenses. Aboard the Defiant, Amanda Porter watched as the distance between her ship and the enemy fleet rapidly decreased. "Energy readings from enemy vessels are spiking," reported Science Officer Greg Barnes. "They're diverting power from shields to weapons." Amanda nodded. "Perfect. They think they need more firepower, not more protection." She turned to her weapons officer. "Lieutenant Harris, are the railguns charged?" Lieutenant Nicole Harris nodded. "Yes, Captain. All ships in battle group report ready." "Fire on my mark." Amanda waited until the Defiant was perfectly positioned, with 3 Drakthul warships directly ahead. On the orbital station, the aliens watched with bated breath. The human ships seemed to be charging straight into destruction, and yet Admiral Wright showed no concern. The Drakthul commander laughed on screen. "Their primitive vessels are committing suicide. Prepare to— now!" ordered Amanda Porter. The front of each human ship in Battle Group 1 lit up with blinding flashes as massive railguns fired in perfect unison. There was no sound in the vacuum of space, but everyone watching could almost feel the power being unleashed. What happened next left the alien delegation in stunned silence. The kinetic rounds, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, struck the Drakthul ships before they could react. The projectiles tore through their energy shields as if they weren't there and punched clean holes through their hulls. Secondary explosions bloomed across the enemy vessels as critical systems were damaged. "Direct hits on all targets," reported Lieutenant Harris aboard the Defiant. "Enemy shields had no effect against our kinetic weapons. 3 Drakthul warships listed in space, venting atmosphere and debris. Their weapon systems went dark as emergency containment protocols engaged." Infor. The Orbital Command Center, Admiral Wright turned to Ambassador Zixkorthan with a small smile. "You see, Ambassador, sometimes the old ways work best. Your fancy energy shields are designed to stop energy weapons, not physical projectiles moving at relativistic speeds." The ambassador stared at the screen, his previous arrogance completely gone. "But your ships, they look so ancient," Admiral Wright finished for him. "Maybe that's exactly what we wanted you to think." The Drakthul commander's face contorted with rage as he watched 3 of his warships drift helplessly in space. His crew stared at their screens in disbelief. The primitive human vessels had somehow punched through their advanced shields with a single volley. "Impossible," he roared, slamming his scaled fist onto the arm of his command chair. "Adjust shield frequencies and increase power. Focus all weapons on their lead ship." On the orbital station, Ambassador Zixkorthan and his delegation watched the battle unfold with growing amazement. What they had dismissed as outdated technology was proving remarkably effective against one of the most feared fleets in the galaxy. "I don't understand," said the ambassador, turning to Admiral Wright. "Our scans showed simple fusion reactors and basic materials. How are they withstanding energy weapons that can cut through Confederation shields?" Admiral Wright smiled. "Chief, Engineer Wilson can explain better than I can." Kevin Wilson stepped forward, unable to hide the pride in his voice. "Your civilization took one path of technological development. We took another." He pointed to the display showing a close-up of one of the human ships. "Your ships rely on energy shields to stop attacks. When those shields fail, your ships are vulnerable." He traced a finger along the thick hull of a human vessel. "Our approach is different. The outer layer of our hulls contains nanostructured materials that capture and disperse energy attacks. The middle layer is a composite of ceramics and metals that absorb and redirect heat. The inner layer contains superconducting mesh that channels away any remaining energy. The alien scientists crowded closer to the display, studying the human ships with new interest. But such defenses should be prohibitively heavy, one argued. Your ships would be too slow to be effective. Wilson grinned. That's what our engines are for. We may not have your fancy quantum fold technology, but our fusion drives are optimized for thrust-to-weight ratios that would surprise you. Back in space, the battle continued to unfold. The remaining 12 Drakthul ships regrouped and concentrated their fire on the Defiant. Green energy beams lanced across space, all targeting Captain Porter's vessel. On the bridge, Amanda gripped her chair as the ship shuddered under the assault. Armor integrity at 82%, reported Lieutenant Mitchell. They're focusing everything on us. Just as we planned, Amanda replied calmly. Battle Groups 2 and 3, execute flanking maneuver now. While the Drakthul concentrated on the Defiant, the other human ships moved swiftly to encircle the enemy fleet. The alien vessels were arranged in a tight formation that maximized the effectiveness of their energy weapons, but left them vulnerable to attacks from multiple directions. Sir, one of the Drakthul officers called to their commander, the human ships are surrounding us. The commander bared his teeth. Impossible. Their engines couldn't possibly. He stopped as the tactical display updated, showing human vessels approaching from all sides. How did they move so quickly? Aboard the Defiant, Amanda watched as her plan unfolded perfectly. All ships prepare second volley, target their propulsion systems. The human fleet fired again, railguns launching projectiles at near relativistic speeds from all directions. The Drakthul ships tried to adjust, rotating to bring their strongest shields to bear, but they couldn't cover all angles at once. More enemy vessels took devastating hits. Unlike energy weapons that could be absorbed or deflected by shields, the kinetic force of the railgun projectiles transferred directly to the target. 2 more Drakthul ships lost power, their engines destroyed by precision strikes. In the orbital command center, the alien delegation watched in stunned silence. But this makes no sense, one of the scientists finally said. The entire galaxy evolved toward energy-based weapons and defenses. No spacefaring civilization uses physical projectiles anymore. That's exactly why they work so well, Admiral Wright explained. Your shields are designed to stop energy, not mass. You've all been fighting the same way for so long that you forgot about alternatives. On the main display, the battle continued. The Drakthul fleet, now missing 5 of its 15 ships, began to adjust its tactics. The remaining vessels spread out, making it harder for the humans to target multiple ships with each volley. They're adapting, noted Ambassador Zix Corthan. Admiral Wright nodded. So will we. On the Defiant, Amanda Porter received updated tactical information. The enemy is changing formation. Time for Phase 2. She turned to Lieutenant Harris. Launch the RIDS. Lieutenant Harris nodded and pressed a series of commands into her console. RIDS launching now, Captain. From the human ships, hundreds of small objects shot toward the Drakthul fleet. They looked like simple missiles, and the enemy point defense systems immediately began targeting them. The Drakthul commander watched with satisfaction as his weapons destroyed the incoming projectiles. Primitive missile technology, he sneered. This is what they followed their initial attack with? But as the defense systems hit the human projectiles, something unexpected happened. Instead of exploding, the missiles broke apart, each one releasing thousands of tiny metallic particles that spread out in clouds around the Drakthul ships. What is this? Demanded the commander. Some kind of primitive chaff? On the orbital station, Kevin Wilson explained to the confused alien delegation. We call them reactive interference dispersal systems, RIDS. Those aren't just metal particles. Each one contains a tiny electromagnetic field generator. As he spoke, the Drakthul ships fired another volley of energy weapons at the human fleet. But as the beams passed through the clouds of particles, something remarkable happened. The energy seemed to bend and twist, some of it reflecting back toward the Drakthul vessels. The particles create a reactive field. Wilson continued. When energy weapons pass through, the field captures some of the energy and redirects it. It's like turning their own weapons against them. Ambassador Zixkorthan watched in amazement as the Drakthul ships began taking damage from their own deflected weapon fire. Our scientists theorized something like this might be possible, but no one has ever implemented it successfully. Admiral Wright smiled. Humans have always been good at turning theory into practice. In space, the battle was turning decisively in Earth's favor. The Drakthul ships were now caught in a terrible dilemma. Their energy weapons were being redirected against them by the Rides clouds, while the human railguns continued to punch through their shields. Aboard the Defiant, Amanda Porter watched the enemy's confusion with satisfaction. They expected an easy victory against a primitive species. Instead, they found something they weren't prepared for. Lieutenant Mitchell nodded. They don't understand why their technology isn't working. Send. A message to the Drakthul commander, Amanda ordered. Tell him he has one chance to withdraw before we destroy his entire fleet. The message was transmitted, and moments later, the reptilian face of the Drakthul commander appeared on screen. His scales had darkened with rage, but there was also fear in his red eyes. This isn't over, humans, he hissed. You've revealed your technological secrets to us. Next time we'll be prepared. Amanda leaned forward in her chair. There doesn't have to be a next time, Commander. The Galactic Confederation is watching this battle. They know what we can do now. Do you really want to be remembered as the one who lost an entire fleet to a primitive species? The commander's eyes narrowed, but he said nothing. The transmission cut off abruptly. In the orbital command center, Admiral Wright pointed to the display. They're pulling back. 7 of their ships are still operational, but they've had enough. Ambassador Zixkorthan looked at the human admiral with new respect. It seems we have much to learn about your species, Admiral. We made the mistake of judging your technology by our standards. Admiral Wright nodded. A common error when meeting new civilizations, I imagine. Indeed, the ambassador agreed, and a costly one for the Drakthul today. He hesitated, then added, I owe you an apology for our condescension earlier. Your ancient fleet has proven to be far more formidable than we anticipated. Apology accepted, Ambassador, Admiral Wright replied. Now shall we discuss Earth's entry into the Galactic Confederation as equals rather than as a developing species? The ambassador bowed slightly. I believe that would be appropriate. Very appropriate indeed. The remaining Drakthul ships limped away from Earth, their once proud formation now scattered and disorganized. On the bridge of the Defiant, Captain Amanda Porter watched them retreat with a mixture of relief and pride. Shall we pursue, Captain? Asked Lieutenant Mitchell. Amanda shook her head. No. Let them go. They'll carry the message back to their empire. Message received from Admiral Wright, reported Communications Officer Diane Carter. All ships are to return to defense positions. The Admiral requests that you and Lieutenant Harris join her in the Orbital Command Center as soon as possible. Amanda nodded. Acknowledge the order. Lieutenant Mitchell, you have the bridge. An hour later, Amanda and Nicole Harris stood in the command center alongside Admiral Wright. The alien delegation watched as technicians and officers worked to assess the damage from the battle. Earth had won a decisive victory, but not without cost. 3 human ships had taken serious damage, though remarkably, there had been no complete losses. Your fleet performed admirably, Ambassador Zixkorthan said, his tone now respectful. I must admit, we have never seen combat tactics like yours before. Admiral Wright gestured to the 2 officers who had just arrived. Captain Porter commanded our lead battle group, and Lieutenant Harris is our weapons specialist. They can explain our approach better than I can. Nicole Harris stepped forward. Our railgun technology is the product of decades of research. The projectiles are made of depleted uranium, encased in a synthetic diamond shell, accelerated to nearly 7% of light speed. One of the alien scientists looked skeptical. But the power requirements for such weapons must be enormous. Kevin Wilson joined the conversation. That's why our fusion reactors are designed the way they are. They may seem basic to you, but they're optimized for massive power output in short bursts. The ambassador studied the tactical display showing recordings of the battle. And these clouds you deployed? The ones that redirected our energy weapons? Reds, Nicole explained. Each particle contains a microscopic field generator powered by the energy it absorbs. When an energy beam passes through the cloud, the particles activate and bend the path of the beam. Ingenious, murmured the ambassador. In all my years of diplomatic service, I've never seen such an approach to space warfare. Amanda Porter crossed her arms. That's because everyone else followed the same technological path. Energy weapons became stronger, so energy shields became stronger to match. It's a cycle that's been going on for thousands of years, according to your own history. And you broke that cycle, the ambassador realized. You developed in isolation, without the influence of galactic standards. Admiral Wright nodded. Humans have always been good at thinking differently. When we started exploring space, we studied the problem of space combat from first principles. Energy shields seemed too vulnerable to us. One failure and your ship is defenseless. So you built ships that could take hits and keep fighting, the ambassador concluded. Exactly, Kevin Wilson confirmed. Our hulls are designed to absorb damage. Even if parts of our armor are compromised, the ship remains functional. On the main display, the tactical officer highlighted a Drakthul vessel that had been disabled early in the battle. We're receiving new sensor data. The enemy ships are beginning to restore power. They'll be able to limp home, but they won't be a threat anytime soon. Amanda turned to Admiral Wright. Admiral, with your permission, I'd like to take the Defiant to monitor their departure from the system. Granted, Captain, but maintain a safe distance. We've won this round, but we don't want to provoke them further. As Amanda left to return to her ship, Ambassador Zixkorthan approached her. Captain Porter, before you go, I wanted to personally apologize for my behavior earlier. I judged your technology by the standards I was familiar with without considering alternatives. Amanda smiled slightly. It's a natural mistake, Ambassador. We look forward to showing you more of our outdated technology in the coming days. Back, aboard the Defiant, Amanda settled into her command chair. Set course to shadow the Drakthul fleet. Keep us at a distance of 500,000 kilometers. As her ship moved into position, Amanda studied the enemy vessels on her screen. The once fearsome warships now looked battered and vulnerable, their sleek designs marred by the gaping holes left by human railguns. Captain, called Diane Carter from her communication station, I'm picking up transmissions between the Drakthul ships. They're speaking openly, probably figuring we can't understand their language. But our AI translator can, Amanda realized. What are they saying? Diane listened through her earpiece, then looked up with a smile. They're arguing about what to report to their superiors. The commander wants to tell the truth, that they were defeated by weapons they've never seen before. His second in command is afraid they'll be executed for failing. Amanda nodded thoughtfully. Record everything. This could be valuable intelligence. Science Officer Greg Barnes looked up from his console. Captain, I've completed the analysis of their shield technology based on combat data. It's actually quite impressive, against energy weapons. But they never developed defenses against kinetic attacks because nobody uses them anymore. Their mistake, Amanda replied. One we can exploit if they come back. Do you think they will? Lieutenant Mitchell asked. Amanda's expression grew serious. Count on it. They'll analyze what happened today and develop countermeasures. We need to stay ahead of them. In the Orbital Command Center, Admiral Wright was having a similar conversation with the alien delegation. Your victory today was impressive, Ambassador Zixkorthan acknowledged. But the Drakthul will adapt. They are known for their persistence. So, are humans, Admiral Wright replied. We've only shown a fraction of our capabilities. The ambassador's eyes widened slightly. There's more? Kevin Wilson chuckled. Ambassador, what you saw today were our Mark IV railguns and first-generation RIDS. We have prototypes that are twice as effective. Not to mention our other weapon, systems that weren't deployed today. Admiral Wright added. Other weapons? One of the alien military advisors asked, clearly intrigued. Admiral Wright shared a knowing look with Kevin. We believe in redundancy. Railguns are just one option in our arsenal. The ambassador was silent for a moment, then said, "The Confederation has underestimated humanity. Your ancient fleet has proven to be anything but obsolete." "Perhaps," Admiral Wright suggested, "it's time for your scientists and ours to exchange ideas. We might have different approaches, but we could learn from each other. I will recommend this to the Confederation Council immediately." The ambassador agreed. "Your kinetic weapons and our energy technology combined could create defenses that no enemy could overcome." As they spoke, the main display showed the Defiant taking up position near the retreating Drakthul fleet. The human vessel, with its thick armor and powerful weapons, no longer looked primitive to the alien observers. Instead, it represented something they had forgotten in their millennia of technological development: the value of thinking differently. "You know," the ambassador said quietly, "when we first saw your ships, we laughed at their design. We thought they were relics of an early stage of development." Admiral Wright smiled. "And now?" "Now," the ambassador replied, "I believe the galaxy will soon learn a valuable lesson about judging by appearances. The humans have arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing will be the same again." 2 days after the battle, Earth's orbital command station buzzed with activity. The Drakthul fleet had left the system, and now humanity was preparing for its new role in galactic politics. In the main conference room, Admiral Wright stood before a holographic display showing the Confederation's territory. Ambassador Zixcorthan pointed out key worlds and trade routes while Earth officials listened attentively. "The Confederation Council has already voted," the ambassador announced. "Earth will be granted full membership status, not the probationary period usually required for new species." Admiral Wright nodded appreciatively. "And what of the Drakthul? Do you think they'll return?" "Eventually," the ambassador admitted. "But not soon, and not alone. They'll seek allies first. Your demonstration has made them cautious." Captain Amanda Porter, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. "Then we should prepare. The RID system can be improved, and our railgun technology could be adapted to work with your power systems." The ambassador's eyes brightened. "Yes, our scientists are already discussing possibilities with Engineer Wilson. Your kinetic approach combined with our energy technology could revolutionize space warfare." One of the Earth officials raised a hand. "What about other species in the Confederation? How will they react to humans?" "With great interest," the ambassador replied. "News of your victory has spread quickly. Many are eager to meet the species whose ancient fleet defeated the Drakthul." Later that day, Amanda stood with Kevin Wilson in the shipyard, watching as Confederation engineers examined a deactivated railgun. "They still can't believe we use physical projectiles," Kevin chuckled. Amanda smiled. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways, but we can learn from them too." "Already have," Kevin replied, holding up a small device. "Their power regulation technology is decades ahead of ours. Once we integrate this into our systems, we can double the railgun's output." On the observation deck, Admiral Wright and Ambassador Zixcorthan watched the Earth and Confederation teams working together. "You know," the ambassador said thoughtfully, "in all my years of diplomatic service, I've never seen a species join the galactic community quite like this." "Like what?" asked the admiral. "As equals from the start. Most species enter as students learning from the established civilizations. Humans have entered as teachers." Admiral Wright smiled. "We have much to learn too, Ambassador." "Perhaps," Zixcorthan agreed, "but you've taught us an important lesson already. Never judge by appearances alone. What seems ancient may simply be different." As they spoke, the Defiant moved slowly past the window, its battle scars now badges of honor. The ship that had led Earth's defense now symbolized humanity's place in the stars, not as followers of the established path, but as innovators who found their own way. "To the future," Admiral Wright said, raising a glass of water and a toast. The ambassador raised his own glass. "To different paths that lead to the same stars." Behind them on the main display, a new ship design rotated slowly, a vessel that combined human durability with Confederation energy technology. the first of many collaborations between Earth and its new galactic partners, a partnership that began when they laughed at the ancient fleet, until they saw humans built it.